Subject: Selling covered stock option contracts. I've had numerous questions about the details and my methods for using this to produce a steady income stream. I'm assuming you know at least the concept of stock option contracts. If you don't, I'd recommend a book by Michael Sincere entitled About Stock Options. I will include a link to Amazon should you wish to purchase it. I have not read his latest edition of the book, but assume it still has a section about selling covered stock option contracts. The edition I read had only 16 pages on the subject, but those 16 pages inspired me to give it a try. That was more than 15 years ago. So I've had an income stream for those 15 years. The percentage of return on capital risk runs from about 10% per year on my worst year to about 30% on my best. Here are some important points. Number one, I'm not an investor. I'm a merchant. I sell covered stock option contracts to create a short position and collect a premium. Selling the contracts short simply means I'm obligated to fulfill the terms of the contract should they be exercised. It is this obligation which earns the premium. Number two, if I set a strike price near the current market price of the underlying stock, then up to 30% of the contracts I sell will expire without being exercised. Take note, I receive the premium up front when the contracts are sold. I keep the premium regardless of whether the contracts are exercised. I somewhat control risk by selecting an underlying stock with a good balance sheet and a good market share. A boring stock is good. In the past several years, I've chosen HBI, HanesBrands International, because they have a good market share manufacturing underwear. Management in the past few years has tried to grow the business by acquisitions rather than staying focused on the core business. This year, however, they have divested one of those acquisitions, which has reduced the debt load. The other reason I selected the stock is the market price of the stock has a range of $5 to $15. Remember, the put contracts, I must have in my brokerage account enough cash to cover the assignment of the stock should the contracts be exercised and the stock assigned to me. The other factor for controlling risk is the strike price I choose for the contracts. The further away from the current market price, the greater the risk, but the higher premium asked or received. So it is a simple business. It revolves around the fact that stock prices will travel within a range. I am hoping that 30% of the contracts sold will have a stock price falling within that range in my favor. It is important to note that even when contracts are exercised, I have collected the premium, which will contribute to a profit or at least free cash flow. If not, the premium will mitigate a loss. To visualize the flow, I've come up with a chart I call the transaction set. I sell put contracts repeatedly until exercised, collecting premiums on each sale. Once exercised, I have the stock with which to cover call contracts, which I sell repeatedly, collecting premiums on each sale until exercised, which puts me back into a cash position, giving me that cash to cover put contracts. Repeat, repeat, repeat. I publish a trading days report showing my activity each day. The most important thing for you to study is the principle of the transaction set. Links to all this can be found in the description. Thank you.